What's going on, everybody? So before I even get started, I just want to kind of give a correction on my previous video. If you're worried about story leaks or anything like that, the chance of them coming out is tomorrow. There's a lot of people that say it won't, but just giving you a fair warning that that is a possibility. Anyways, today I wanted to do something a little different, and I wanted to make another wish list video for my extended look expectations, because when I first made my original one, this was all before the leaks. And because of this, my expectations were not as high as they are now. But I feel like it's appropriate for me to actually go over my new expectations given everything that we've seen in the leaks. Now, I should mention in this video that I'm not going to be talking about the leaks, and if I do, it'll be at the very end, and I'll give you guys a fair warning so you can back out. We're not going to be talking about anything that was covered in the leaks except for my own expectations that we're going to see from the extended look, which doesn't really correlate to the leaks. And another thing before we get started is, if you like when a person just talks to you straight up, tells you what they feel, what they think, without using an AI script, or hell, even any script, because this is all from the dome and I'm just talking to you guys like a person, click that like and subscribe button to see more stuff like this. Now, let's get into it. So the first thing that I want to see or talk about is the fact that I think this extended look absolutely needs to be at least 30 minutes long. Now, at first, when I was talking about it, I thought that 30 minutes was kind of wishful thinking, and that honestly, we'd be happy if we even get 10 minutes. 10 minutes of footage, that would be incredible. But at this point, we have more leaked footage than I would have ever imagined. I think we have over 15 minutes collectively of leaked gameplay footage at this point. So I think it'd be crazy if Rockstar actually gives us less footage than the leaked stuff that we've already seen. Now, is it possible that they still do something that's 10 to 15 minutes long? It is possible, and I guess, if that's the direction they want to go, then that's totally fine. But ultimately, I think for them to make a real big impact, it has to be at least 30 minutes. Now, the good news for that is that there's some kind of BBC report or whatever, something like that, where they're saying that it'll be 30 minutes. So there are some news outlets out there saying that it's going to be 30 minutes long. Whether it will or won't is still left to be seen. But I think 30 minutes would be the best ideal amount of time for this extended look to even be. So that's my first thing. First is we need 30 minutes of new footage. Now, second, I definitely want to see the cars, and I think a lot of you could agree with me on that. And not just the cars, but I want to see every single new detail that involves cars in this game. Now, without getting into leak territory, we have kind of learned a lot about that, but I'm tired of learning about this game through the damn leaks. So I want to see Rockstar showing off every single asset, or every single facet, I should say, of cars and how they're going to work and how they're going to function, how repairing them is going to work, what other features are going to be included, how they handle crashes. I want to see more car destruction and things of that nature. They definitely need to tackle that immediately. Second thing is gunplay. The guns absolutely need to be shown off in the best possible way. Why? Well, you guessed it. We've seen a lot of them in the leaks as well, and honestly, it looked all right, but I need to see how the game looks now and how the gunplay feels, looks, sounds. I mean, from the leaks, it was okay, but honestly, we need to see the real way. We need to see Rockstar showing it all off. Another thing we need to see is something we didn't see in the leaks, which is Lucia, all right? We have only seen Jason gameplay, and I think everybody by this point is tired of seeing Jason, all right? We've seen so much of him in the past couple of days. I think the people want to see more Lucia. I think everybody is going crazy for her, so it would be fantastic to see her, and maybe even how their dynamic really plays out, and the back and forth in terms of like switching between them, how that's going to work. All right, that's really important. Another thing I would love to see is flying vehicles, and actually flying over certain parts of the map, for obvious reasons that, there's, without just repeating myself constantly, I think you guys understand why I want to see flying vehicles. I think that's really important, especially to see a modern rendition of how flying vehicles is going to work. Now, something personal that I also want to take a look is at the ocean, and I want to see some underwater gameplay. I mean, I don't know how many of you guys are excited for that as much as I am, but I'm extremely stoked for just all the money that went into making the oceans in the game. And I would love to see maybe some scuba diving clips or something of that nature, right? Explosions. I'd love to see some more explosions. And honestly, I just want to see more of the map. You know, we've seen a lot of the map from the, footage, but honestly, we don't know how old any of this stuff is. You know, it could be very old, it could be a year old, it could be 6 months, it could be a year and a half. So I want to see the modern rendition of all of the vegetation and the map and just the locations that we've already seen. I just want to see kind of pretty much everything we've seen in the leaks, but in the extended coverage. So that way it all could kind of get fixed, and then Rockstar will have their own expression. They'll have their own way of just showing us everything that we've kind of already seen, and make people that have seen the leaks, make it worth their time, make it worth them watching that stuff again. So I think if we kind of see all of that in a modern retelling, I think it'd be very awesome. But another thing I would love to see are maybe the nightclubs. The nightclubs, looked pretty insane from the footage that we've seen. So it would be nice to see how it actually looks as well. Something I've really also want to know about is all the new features. There's a lot of things that, we saw in the leaks, but ultimately, I want to know all the new features that the game has. How many different new features are there? How does that impact gameplay? I mean, in my opinion, the ideal kind of showcase would be like the gameplay trailers that Rockstar does, those gameplay overview trailers that are like 6 minutes long. And if they kind of do a 30-minute version of that where they walk us through the entire game and just show us all these new features, all of these new things that we want to see in like in a walkthrough version of this showcase, right? I think that would be amazing. Those are really the top things that I want to see, especially now after the leaks. Some things have changed, some things have not, but this is kind of an updated version. I feel like this is a perfect time to make another video like this. So let me know in the comments what you guys think and what you want to see personally. I'm really excited what everyone is looking forward to see. I read all the comments and I try to reply to as many of them as possible. So yeah, let me know in the comments below. But now this is going to be everybody's spoiler warning, or leak warning, I guess, because I do want to touch upon the newer leaks that came out today. This is, I wanted just for you guys to know, if you don't want any of that, you don't want to hear anything about the leaks at all whatsoever, this is your time to go. Leave a like on the video on your way out. And with that being said, we're going to get into the leaks that were just released today and kind of talk about that. Now, there were a lot of things I saw that I really liked. For example, when it comes to the nightclub, it looked unbelievably detailed. The music was super realistic. They used The Weeknd, so that was pretty cool to see. And one thing I really liked that stood out to me personally was actually Jason. He looked super massive. I don't know if it was just the outfit he was wearing, but he definitely looks like a very buffed up version of himself. Like, motherfucker looks like he can't even walk through a door. You know what I mean? So that is awesome. That's something that I'm really excited about. I'm really interested to getting my, I'm trying to see how the muscle system works. That's something I really want to see. I guess I should have mentioned that as well as my extended look, although I don't think it's important for us to see that in the extended look. I kind of feel like the whole muscle and system, I think that could be something they save for when the game comes out. But, he looked massive. He looked pretty big. So that's pretty cool to see how Jason could really change his size. And yeah, the club looked great. I mean, the NPCs look fantastic. The girls, the strippers, all that. Once again, they looked pretty great. They looked pretty great. Another thing that we saw was the beach, and we actually saw the beach in daytime. So honestly, the beach looked just as good as it did in trailer 1. A lot of people were always saying like, oh, the game is not going to look as good as the trailers. There's not going to be as many NPCs. Well, that's not true at all. The beach definitely looked even more packed than it did in the trailer. So there was so many people, there was so many crazy NPCs that were saying a bunch of wild stuff. There was like some hashtag, like hashtag mermaid, some shit, you know what I mean? Like the NPCs seem very realistic. They seem like they're actually going to be kind of talking like people today, which is really awesome. I think that was pretty cool to see. The water looked pretty good. Honestly, everything in the leaks looked fantastic. They almost look like they're getting better and better. But I don't know. Let me know about the leaks if you guys thought it looked great as well or not. But yeah, then there was gameplay, or I'm sorry, a game store. Now this is a random fact, but I literally woke up today from a dream where I was inside of a GameStop trying to return some games, and then I woke up to these leaks about Jason being in a game store. So that was hilarious. And yeah, the game store looked crazy. There was actually an Easter egg for Dark Souls. There was something called Glory Souls 2. which is a direct Easter egg of Dark Souls, which was hilarious. I love that. And yeah, they showed off some earbuds that you can buy, headphones, which are really cool. I feel like that pretty much confirms we're going to be able to listen to music outside of cars, which is really cool. Have like earbuds and shit. So yeah, the new leaks looked fantastic. I'd argue that they look better than all the other leaks. They also looked a little newer, so I don't know what the hell is going on when it comes to the leaks. Maybe this guy just has a bunch of clips from all different builds, or I don't know what the hell is going on. But the leaks look good. That's all I could say. But I want to know from you guys now. Let me know in the comments what you guys thought about the leaks, stuff like that. And yeah, I guess we'll see what happens tomorrow. Tomorrow's the big day, whether we're going to get to see story leaks or not. Like I said, I'm not going to cover it. And if I do cover it, I'll definitely give you guys a big warning so that you do not watch it. You stay away because I definitely do not want to spoil anything for anyone. All right, now with all that being said, stay healthy, stay safe, and I will see you guys in Vice City.